We are doing Tubi. I don't know where you're alive. Where you're alive. Wow. I don't know where you're living. Hello, and welcome back to me screaming into the void. I have to apologize to the citizens of the void as your self-proclaimed... I can't speak. As your self-proclaimed ruler. I forgot to welcome you last time. I know we did a whole insert GIF thingy with my voice in the background, but I actually forgot and I had to tell my editor to come up with a plan. Today we are doing part 2 of 25 gems I found on Tubi, specifically catered to horror audiences. However, I have sneaked in a couple with the excuse that they still have horror elements in them because it's my video and I will do what I want with it. Blood, laughs, nightmares, and creatures await. From under-the-radar freakouts, cult classics, and gore-stained gold. Was it an excuse for me to rewatch certain movies that I hadn't watched in a while? Yes, indeed. I feel like an art curator sometimes watching these movies. I'm like, can I recommend this one to my audience? Yes, indeed, I can. As in the last video, I have divided this video up into 6 categories with a slight change in the last one. We have unhinged horror comedies, found footage, the gory and the gnarly, cruel people, mind-bending nightmares, and this time, instead of spooky ghosties, we will be having creature features. I found you 4 gems. And of course, we will be ending with a bonus movie that has literally nothing to do with horror.
What? Why?
Are you ready for another 25 movies? I know I am. Let's get started with unhinged horror comedies, where the weird gets weirder and blood is the punchline. First movie we're talking about is Vicious Fun from 2020. In 1983 Minnesota, a film critic for the horror magazine Vicious Fanatics finds himself inadvertently attending a self-help group for serial killers. Mistaken for a fellow killer, he must blend in with the group of eccentric murderers to survive the night. The director is Cody Callahan, and the cast consists of Evan Marsh, Amber Goldfarb, Ari Millen, and David Koechner. Why you should watch it? It's this neon-soaked homage to the 80s slasher movies. You have these 5 serial killers all in this round table at this pub, and you have the main protagonist who had gotten so drunk that he fell asleep in the broom closet at the bar, and when he wakes up, he finds himself surrounded by these serial killers, and at first he's not sure what is happening, so he's like playing along like, yeah. So this thing I'm doing. Vicious Fun delivers a blend of dark comedy and horror and a lot of nice gory kills. And the vibe is hilariously violent, meta, stylish neon, and very gory. Search tip, you will often find it under comedy instead of horror. Next movie, Baba Hotep, 2002. It's so much fun and it has so much heart. There is a bit of German in the beginning when there is this black and white found footage about how they found the mummies. But once you get through that, all of it is in English, so don't get scared by that. An elderly Elvis and a man claiming to be JFK team up in a Texas nursing home to battle a soul-stealing Egyptian mummy. The director is Don Coscarelli, and the cast consists of Bruce Campbell, Ossie Davis, Ella Joyce, Heidi Marnhut, and Bob Ivy. Why watch? Because it's a cult classic that blends humor with poignant themes such as aging and identity, and of course, Bruce Campbell is in it as Elvis. I don't think I need to sell the movie more, do I? The vibe is bizarre, funny, existential, camp meets soulful horror. And of course, Bruce Campbell. Search tip, you should look under comedy or fantasy. Next movie. This one is technically not horror. However, with all the creature features and the nasty, nice kills, I would say that it is horror adjacent, and it is Evolution 2001. I can literally feel you judging me from the other side of the screen. A meteor crashes in Arizona, unleashing rapidly evolving alien life forms on Earth. 2 college professors, a firefighting cadet, and a government scientist must stop them before they take over the planet with shampoo and science. The director is Ivan Reitman, and the cast consists of David Duchovny, Orlando Jones, Sean William Scott, Julian Moore, Ted Levine, and Dan Aykroyd. Why watch? It's a science fiction comedy with an action-packed premise and nostalgic late 90s practical effects. There is so many wonderful practical effects. There is this one scene where there is this teeny tiny alien with massive eyes that crawls out, and the lady's like, "Oh, what are you for a little cutie patootie?" And when she does that, he opens his mouth and it's full of shiny, sharp teeth. It's just filled with nice scenes that will live in your brain forever. One of my absolute favorite scenes is the one in the mall where Wayne sings to the flying dinosaur or raptor or whatever it's called. And he looks for him by doing kaka, kaka, tuki tuki. And then he proceeds to sing, "You are so beautiful to me." And in the background you hear, sometimes Kaka is enough. The vibe is light-hearted alien science fiction movie with alien butt jokes. Search tip, it's definitely categorized as science fiction and comedy, and you will definitely not find it under horror because not technically a horror movie. Next movie. I talked about this movie, I think, in The Kids Are Not Alright, the first edition. This movie is my brain in definition of movies, and it's Detention, 2011. A killer named Cinderella, yes, Cinderella, stalks Grizzly Lake High, and a group of students must survive the slasher rampage, all while stuck in detention. The director is Joseph Kahn. He has funded this movie himself, which, thank you. Otherwise, we would not have this hidden gem. And it's starring none other than Josh Hutcherson, Shanley Caswell, and Dane Cook. Yeah, I know, Dane Cook, boohoo, but he plays the nasty principal, so perfect for him. Why watch? It's high school detention that turns into a surreal, gender-bending horror comedy chaos that throws horror, science fiction, and teen comedy in a blender and will confuse most people into not wanting to watch it. But to me, this movie is the perfect stimulation that my brain needs to be happy. If you have watched a movie and you liked it, we might be on the same team. The vibe is hyper chaotic, absurd teen bloodbath. Search tip, often found in comedy. And now it's time for found footage. I love found footage.
You don't say.
I have a whole list of reactions just dedicated to found footage time. And the first one is one that I have reacted to on this channel already. Gonijam Haunted Asylum 2018 from South Korea. And it is in Korean. A live stream crew explores a real haunted asylum and slowly realizes the spirits aren't just for show. As they delve deeper into the asylum, they encounter increasingly disturbing supernatural occurrences, leading to a terrifying and deadly unraveling of events. The director is Jung Bong-sik, and it's starring, I will butcher these names and I apologize in advance. It's starring Seon-wook, Park Ji-hyun, and Ye Won-moon. Why watch? It's Korean found footage done right. It has a slow build-up, it has a terrifying payoff, and bone-chilling jump scares. The vibe is terrifying ghost hunting with a strong nope energy. Search tip, it's usually found under foreign or international. Next movie, Sorgoy Prakov, or Descent into Madness, My European Nightmare from 2013. It's mostly in English and has a little bit of French. I've talked about it in my Unhinged and Underrated list already. If you want to delve a little bit deeper into it, an Eastern European journalist arrives in Paris to document the European dream. But culture shock, misfortune, and mounting paranoia push him into a spiral of disturbing, depraved mental breakdown. This is not for the light-hearted. Tread carefully, because after watching this movie, I was not okay. And not the kind of jump scary not okay Gonijam Haunted Asylum that at some point you're like, haha, ghosts? No, this is more like, people can go down that path. This is too realistic for me. And it has some snuffy vibes in the end. It's directed by Rafael Cherkassky and it's starring Rafael Cherkassky. Why watch? It's a rare gem and very unsettling. Feels way too real for just being a fun footage movie. Vibe, creep meets B My Cat. Search tip, you might find it under drama or foreign. Not really. It's definitely under horror. This time I actually checked out all the genres that the movies were labeled in. All the labels I'm mentioning right now are also the labels that are applied to the movies. So when I say it's definitely not under horror, you can bet that that movie is not found under horror. Sometimes Tubi, I wonder if you want to traumatize your audience. Next movie, The Bay, 2012. A small Maryland town is plunged into chaos when an ecological disaster unleashes a deadly parasitic outbreak. Told through found footage from phones, webcams, and calls, the film reveals the hidden truth behind a July 4th tragedy that claimed hundreds of lives. The director is Barry Levinson, and it's starring Will Rogers, Cather Donahue, and Kristen Connolly. Why watch? It's found footage meets environmental horror with a creeping sense of helplessness. The vibe is government denial meets parasitic terror. The search tip I would give you is it hides under science fiction. Next found footage, Hell House LLC. The director's cut. There is an extra 8 to 10 minutes in there. 5 years after a mysterious malfunction kills 15 people during the opening night of a Halloween haunted house tour in upstate New York, a documentary crew returns to investigate. They track down the sole survivor and uncover chilling footage from inside the haunted attraction, revealing what really happened that night. The director is Stephen Cognetti. It's a whole franchise, and they're all available on Tubi. You're welcome. It's starring Ryan Jennifer Jones, Danny Bellini, and Gore Abrams. Why watch? The director's cut adds nearly 10 minutes of extra scares and character development, including an expanded basement scene that was originally cut due to budgetary restrictions. The vibes are creepy, supernatural dread, mixed with haunted house. Search tip, definitely found under horror. Next category, Gory and the Gnarly. No metaphors here, just blood, guts, and bad decisions. First movie I'm talking about is Candyland from 2022. It's about Remy, a young woman expelled from her religious cult who enters the underground world of truck stop sex workers who are called lot lizards. With help from a matriarch and a local lawman, she navigates the new life while questioning her beliefs, only to come face to face with the brutal violence and dark revelations. Director is John Swab, and it's starring Eden Brolin. I love Eden Brolin. Olivia Luccardi, Sam Quarton, and William Baldwin. Yes, we have one of the Baldwin brothers in this movie. And just because we have one of the Baldwin brothers in this movie does not mean that this movie is bad. Why watch? It's violent and raw. The slow burn horror thriller intertwines themes of faith, survival, and exploitation. The vibe is gritty grindhouse meets religious chaos. Search tip, it's usually filed under thriller or independent. Next one, The Funhouse Massacre 2015. I watched The Funhouse from the 80s. I did not like it. It gave off a very weird vibe, and I was feeling highly uncomfortable for all the wrong reasons. That movie was not for me. But this one was a lot of fun and very campy. 6 of the world's most terrifying psychopaths escape from a local asylum and unleash chaos onto the unsuspecting crowd at a Halloween funhouse, where each maze is inspired by their brutal reigns of terror. It's directed by Andy Palmer and starring Robert Englund, Jer Burns, Scotty Thompson, Matt Angel, and Clint Howard. Why watch? It's a slasher comedy drenched in practical gore effects. I had a lot of fun watching heads being smashed into smithereens and people being smashed against stuff and more smashing and limbs falling off. Gory fun. And yes, I'm biased because the director commented on my horror makeup inspired by Dollface. My little twisted heart did bleed with joy. The vibe is gory, fast-paced Halloween funfair mayhem. The search tip, often hidden under comedy. Excision 2012. This movie will make you feel uncomfortable. It's the opposite of a teen comedy. Pauline is a troubled teen caught between her strict religious mother and her ill sister. Haunted by violent, unsettling fantasies and desperate to prove herself, she chases her dream of becoming a surgeon, no matter the cost. It's directed by Richard Bates Jr. and it's starring Anne-Lynn McCord, Tracy Lords. Yes, that Tracy Lords, and John Waters. Why watch? It's a haunting exploration of adolescent alienation, and it's blending body horror with a descent into madness. Just my cup of tea. Her fantasies are depraved AF. The vibe is unsettling and surreal with a gory, unflinching portrayal of a troubled mind. Search tip, you might find it under drama. Next movie, Mayhem. 2017. In a quarantined law firm, a virus strips away societal filters, turning white-collar cubicles into battlegrounds. One wrongfully fired lawyer and a disgruntled client team up to brawl through the office politics with hammers and nail guns. It's directed by Joe Lynch, and it's starring none other than Stephen Yeun and Samara Weaving. There is a lot of practical effects, there is a lot of gore and body parts flying around. Why watch? It's office horror anchored by the fantastic performances from Yoon and Weaving. Do we need more? I don't think so. It's a blood-spattered commentary on capitalism and frustration filtered through millennial rage. The vibe is corporate hatred meets over-the-top violence in an R-rated, adrenaline-fueled, dark comedy. And Samara Weaving. Search tip, you might find it under action and comedy. Next category, cruel people. We are in for the doozies now. Human monsters, real world horror, and darkness without supernatural disguises. No ghosts, just humans being monsters. We are starting off softly before we descend into worse ones. The Stanford Prison Experiment from 2015. In 1971, 24 male college students were randomly assigned roles as prisoners and guards in a mock prison in Stanford's psychology basement. What started as a 2-week experiment led by Professor Philip Zimbardo spiraled out of control, ending in only 6 days. And it's based on a true story, which is the worst part of this movie. The cast is awesome too. So it's directed by Kyle Patrick Alvarez and it's starring Billy Crudup, Michael Angarano, Ezra Miller, I know, Ezra Miller, boo, we know, Ty Sheridan, Olivia Thirlby, and Nicholas Brown. Why watch? It's a chilling dramatization of institutional cruelty, examining how ordinary people can become absolutely nasty asshats when given power. I hated it so much. This movie made me very angry. The vibe is tense and brutal based on a real world story. Search tip, often found under drama or thriller. Next movie, Wolf Creek, 2005. For those who have watched it, that laugh will forever haunt my dreams. It's about 3 backpackers stranded in the outback who fall prey to a sadistic bushman who offers help, then hunts them for sport and subjects them to brutal torture. And you know Aussie horror gets into the nitty-gritty of brutality. The director is Greg McLean and it's starring John Jarrett, Nathan Phillips, and Cassandra McGrath. Why watch? It's a grim, ultra-realistic survival nightmare loosely based on a true crime story and an iconic villain performance by Jared. I mean, they have done, I think, 2 sequels and an entire series, all of which I have watched, and the series is insanity. The vibe is bleak, gritty, and unforgiving, and gory. Search tip, often found under indie or thriller. Next movie, I've talked about this one before too in my Unhinged and Underrated. It's The Golden Glove, which is in German from 2019. It's about this grotesque portrayal of Fritz Honka from Hamburg, who is a serial killer in the 1970s and lures his victims from a sleazy bar only to hide their remains in his attic. They literally found out about this just because his attic started to stink up the whole place and the neighbors were complaining about the smell. It's directed by Fatih Akin and it's starring Jonas Dassler. Why watch? It's a very visceral and grotesque character study of evil that is so obvious it becomes riveting the more you watch it. If you like art house and grit, this one's for you. The vibe is filthy, oppressive, very oppressive, and unsettling with no catharsis. This movie made me shudder more than once, and not in a good way. Search tip, it's often buried under drama or crime, and definitely not in horror, which is mind-boggling to me. You will have to wash your eyes after this movie with something a little more fun. Next movie, The House That Jack Built, 2018. It's about Jack, a failed architect and a vicious serial killer who narrates 5 of his most elaborate murders, each a twisted work of art that defines his 12-year reign of terror in the Pacific Northwest. It's philosophical, it's gruesome, and art house horror Examining Evil. It's directed by Lars von Trier and it's starring Matt Dillon, Uma Thurman, and Bruno Ganz. Why watch? It's a very provocative and disturbing character study with a hellish ending. Vibe, philosophical, and very grotesque. Both The Golden Glove and The House That Jack Built are not for the light-hearted, fast-paced, loving people, and I would highly suggest you skip these two if you don't want to be pulled down by the vibes of these movies, because they will pull you down. Search tip often found under drama or outhouse. Outhouse? Bruh. Art house. Next category, one of my favorites. Also, I found a couple of movies here that I'm really happy about. Mindbending Nightmares. This is the category where reality warps, time loops, and psychological horror mess with your brain. These don't play fair, reality is optional, and sanity is not guaranteed. The first movie we are talking about is Demonic from 2021. It's about Carly, who uses virtual reality to dive into her estranged comatose mother's fractured mind, only to unleash a demon tied to her family's dark past. Why I'm mentioning this movie, I know it's been torn apart by critics. However, I do think it's a very interesting premise. Neil Blomkamp, who directed this movie, tried something new. Kind of managed to do it, but also not, because he didn't have a high budget for this and it was during the pandemic. Bearing that in mind, this movie was more of a side project for him. It's starring Carly Pope and Nathalie Bolt. Why watch? It's a very glitchy, mind-bending dive into virtual reality that blurs the line between self and inherited trauma, and it's exploring the fears of losing yourself to inherited mental illnesses in a surreal, psychological, supernatural thriller. The vibe is definitely dreamlike and occasionally disorienting demon invasion. Search tip, you usually find it under science fiction or thriller. Next movie, May 2002. I am grinning because I find this movie so good. It has Frankensteinian vibes. Mae Dove Kennedy is a socially awkward veterinary assistant with a lazy eye. She becomes obsessed with perfection and struggles with her own imperfections. After developing a crush on a boy with perfect hands, she spirals into an obsession of creating a companion from body parts she collects from around her. It's directed by one of my favorite directors, Lucky McKee, same director who did All Cheerleaders Die, that I have done a deep dive on, and it's starring the great and awesome Angela Bettis, Jeremy Sisto, Anna Faris, and James Duval. Why watch it? It has become a cult classic that blends horror and dark comedy. May explores the theme of isolation and the desire for connection through the lens of a socially awkward individual. The vibe is unsettling, darkly quirky, and emotionally resonant, and also dolls. It's definitely filed under horror and only horror. Thank you, Tubi, for this one. I'm glad you knew how to categorize this movie. Next movie, The Autopsy of Jane Doe 2016. I did another deep dive on this one. There's just so many teeny tiny details in this movie that just made my horror heart sing. It's about a father-son coroner team that investigates the mysterious death of an unidentified corpse with seemingly no external damage, uncovering bizarre clues that reveal horrifying secrets. It's directed by Andre Overdahl. It's the same director who directed Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. So much fun, such beautiful camera work. And it's starring Brian Cox and Emil Hirsch. Why watch? It's a smart, one-location, supernatural thriller that builds dread through autopsy discoveries, dead bodies, and an eerie atmosphere. The vibe is slow burn, morgue horror with body horror undercurrents and occult mystery. Search tip, often found under thriller. Next movie, Daniel Isn't Real 2019. I feel like this movie is highly underrated and not enough people talk about it. If you haven't watched it, I would highly recommend you do, because once it gets going, it becomes so unhinged. It's about Luke, a traumatized college freshman who resurrects his childhood imaginary friend Daniel to help him cope. However, Daniel proves to be far more real and sinister than Luke anticipated, forcing him to confront a dark reality he cannot escape. I know that some people harp on the Nepo baby side of this movie, which, true, we have Miles Robbins and Patrick Schwarzenegger in it. However, that mix, knowing that Tim Robbins played Jacob's Ladder, and the arrogance that Patrick Schwarzenegger exudes in this movie is perfect for his character that isn't real. This movie is gonna satisfy a lot of people who are into mind-bending nightmares, I guess. It's directed by Adam Egypt Mortimer and it's starring, as mentioned before, Miles Robbins, Patrick Schwarzenegger, and Sasha Lane. Why watch it? It's a twisted psychological horror movie exploring the fragility of the mind and the consequences of repressed trauma. They took Imaginary Friend to a completely different level. The vibe is a visually arresting mind bender where mental breakdown collides with a sinister otherworldly presence. Search it, you will find it under thriller or drama and definitely not under horror. Last category, well, last but one, creature features, because not everything that goes bump in the night is dead. First movie, Jeepers Creepers, 2001. Siblings Trish and Darry veer off a highway only to become targets of a creature who harvests body parts and stitches them up onto caves. The director, I will not mention his name because I like this movie for the creature feature and the camera work. However, I have a hard time suggesting it to people because it involves a director that is a horrible person. This guy was convicted in 1988 for doing some really horrible things to a 12-year-old boy on set during the production of his movie Clown House, and he served 15 months in prison. And despite his conviction and knowing that he's such a POS, they still let him do movies. So with a very bitter aftertaste, and you not knowing what the director did, you can either watch it or not. Such people make me very angry. But it's on Tubi, it's available for free, and I thought I should mention it. It's starring Gina Phillips, Justin Long, and Jonathan Breck. Why watch it? It's an iconic early 2000s creature feature. The practical effects are off the charts. This movie does deserve to be mentioned for all the other artists. And it delivers relentless suspense and very disturbing imagery. I mean, that cave with the stitched up body parts and Justin Long's face along with that. Justin Long has just this duh face when he's sometimes in movies. The vibe is road trip terror meets supernatural slasher lore with sadly a very bitter aftertaste. Search it, you might find it under mystery or thriller. Next movie, Splinter, 2008. A young couple and their captor take refuge in an isolated gas station only to discover it's infested by a parasitic organism that transforms its victims into deadly spiny creatures. It's directed by Toby Wilkins and it's starring Jill Wagner, Paulo Costanzo, and Shea Wiggum. Why watch? It's a claustrophobic creature feature with impressive practical effects and a relentless pace. I love one location wonders. It just never ceases to amaze me how much people can do with so little. The vibes are intense, gory, and suspenseful. Search it, you might find it on the thriller. Next movie, The Host, 2006, from South Korea. In Korean, when careless American military personnel dump toxic chemicals into Seoul's Han River, a monstrous creature emerges, wreaking havoc on the city. A family must rescue their daughter, who has been abducted by the creature. Director is Bong Joon-ho. He also said that The Host was inspired by the real-life McFarland incident in the 2000s, where an American civilian working on a US military base in South Korea ordered the illegal disposal of formaldehyde into the Han River, leading to significant environmental concerns. It's starring Song Kang-ho, Byun Hae-bong, Park Hae-il, and Bae Doona. I'm sorry for butchering the names. Why watch? It's a masterful blend of monster horror movie and family drama, offering a sharp commentary and emotional depth. The vibe is tense, fast-paced, and darkly satirical creature feature. Next movie. This movie will surprise you in a good way, and it's Border from 2018, Sweden, Denmark, and it's in Swedish. It's about Tina, a customs officer with the ability to sense human emotions through her heightened sense of smell, who leads a very solitary life. Her world changes when she meets Vore, a mysterious traveler who shares her unique traits. As their connection deepens, Tina uncovers unsettling truths about her origins and her identity. The director is Ali Abbasi, and it's starring Eva Melander Eero Milanov and Jürgen Thorsen. Why watch? It's a genre-defying blend of horror, fantasy, and identity exploration. Border delves into themes such as self-discovery and acceptance, and I commend this movie for going so deeply into it and also making the viewer realize that they are being uncomfortable for all the wrong reasons. The vibe is strange, hypnotic, and unsettlingly beautiful. If you like nature, you will like this movie, I think. Search tip, often found under drama and fantasy, definitely not filed under horror. And now for my bonus tip. This movie will break you. It's Another Round from 2020 and it's in Danish. This movie is about 4 high school teachers, Martin, Tommy, Peter, and Nikolai, who embark on an experiment to maintain a constant blood alcohol level. Inspired by the theory that humans are born with a 0.05% blood alcohol deficiency, as they navigate the effects of their personal and professional lives, the experiment leads to unexpected life-altering consequences. It's directed by Thomas Winterberg and it's starring none other than Mads Mikkelsen. If you need an excuse to watch a movie in Danish but you don't want to because subtitles, Mads Mikkelsen will change your mind. Thomas Bo Larsen, Magnus Millang, and Lars Rante. Why watch it? It's a beautiful and melancholic character study of these 4 teachers disguised as a dark comedy. Another Round explores themes of loss and the human desire to wake up to life. The vibe is introspective, bittersweet, and deeply human. Search tip, it's definitely listed under drama and comedy, not remotely horror. I'm very aware of it, but its emotional intensity earns this movie a seat at the bonus round. Alright, Void Dwellers, we have reached the end. Which horror gem did you miss out on or have you watched? Let me know in the comments below. Do you have a Tubi horror title or bonus title that I haven't mentioned yet or is too wild to ignore? Drop your cult classics, gore feasts, and mind melters down in the comments below. Drench the like button in blood, and if you can't find me, sacrifice the subscribe button to summon my screams. I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you in the next one. Bye!